South Park Bigger, Longer and Uncut is a movie I absolutely adore, as you might be able to tell from the title. I've talked about this movie briefly in my South Park episode guide video, but I really had so much more to say about this movie, which is why I decided to do a full video talking about it. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say a quick thank you for the attention my last video got. I was blown away by the amount of people who saw it and liked it enough to subscribe. It really means a lot. Also, I'm sorry for the delayed upload. I said in the description of my last video that I was going to be away for a week, and therefore the next video probably wasn't going to be as long and wouldn't come out as soon. The last video did much better than expected as well, and I've also been busy doing other things, hence why this has taken longer. But anyway, back to the video. When I say I like this movie, I mean I really like it. I can say hands down, South Park Bigger, Longer and Uncut is the greatest musical I've ever seen. And in fact, it's one of my top 4 movies on Letterboxd right now. Now without further ado, let's talk about why. First up, songs. They are the pivotal part of any musical, and in my opinion, there are 3 key points for songs to achieve to be perfect for a musical. Number 1, the characters must always be involved. South Park Bigger, Longer and Uncut is certainly no exception of this. The characters are always the pivotal part of the songs, and they never feel like an afterthought. The animation medium certainly helps us out, letting all the characters do extravagant synchronized dancing numbers which constantly shine throughout the movie. It's really prevalent in It's Easy MK when all the kids move around together, and we get some really impressive top view shots at the end. This creates some really amazing visuals which add to the movie so much. A problem which many musicals face is that their characters are often not suited for the songs, and their voices often stick out or don't work, which they tend to solve by having a different voice sing the songs or by bringing in a different character. This issue is always going to arise when turning South Park into a musical, due to the fact that characters and voice actors they're working with are high-pitched and odd-sounding and not specifically designed to sing. But does the movie try to avoid using these characters with strange voices and try to bring in newer characters with better voices? No. They fully incorporate them, and even try to utilise the uniqueness of their voices to their advantage. Take for example, It's Easy MK, primarily being sung by Mr. Mackey, so of course they choose to incorporate his unique sayings and sounds such as MK into the lyrics. Another example is I'm Super, Thanks for Asking, which utilises Big Al's character and sayings into the song itself, with the whole song being premised about how he always thinks everything is super, and the song being a joke on how no matter how crappy the world can be, he always thinks everything's amazing. These are not even the only 2 examples. The same is done more subtly with Blame Canada, using words more unique to Sheeta's voice and personality in the lyrics, such as hullabaloo, and so on. Overall, South Park Bigger, Longer and Uncut is constantly intertwining the characters in its songs and focusing on how the songs could fit the characters rather than how the characters could fit the songs. Number 2. The songs must further the plot in some way. The entire point of a musical is a story told by the songs, hence why these songs must always be relevant and help drive the plot along in some way, rather than relying on scenes in between to get the story moved along. Furthermore, if songs do not help further the plot or complete something in some way, it leaves the audience feeling unsatisfied, and it often comes off as filler and a waste of time. On the contrary, if a song is used to let the characters complete a task or learn a lesson, it feels important and is that much more satisfying. Take for example Blame Canada, which begins with Sheila gathering all the parents for a talk and finishes with a huge mob rallying for the destruction of Canada. An insane development which is clearly represented by the song and progresses naturally as to not make you left confused or left out. What Would Brian Boltano Do also shows how songs can be used to show the characters learning a lesson rather than completing a task, with the boys beginning the song in distress, unsure what to do, but by the end of the song having learned that they must stand up and stop their parents, which is incredibly satisfying as we've literally seen and heard their character progression throughout the song. And number 3, they've got a slap. Ever since I watched this movie for the first time 6 months ago, most of these songs have been constantly stuck in my head, which is kind of a shame because if I sing It's Easy MK out loud, people look at me like I'm some sort of crazy person. Even before I made this video, when I did a quick rewatch of the movie, I could sing all of the songs word for word and bar for bar, and I'll put my hands up and admit, I stood up at some points and belted out the lyrics. Seriously, these songs are so goddamn good. Mountain Town is amazing. Blame Canada is too catchy. It's Easy MK is seriously underrated, and La Resistance is fucking perfect. Trey Parker actually has quite a good skill set for music. Before Bigger, Longer and Uncut, he directed, wrote and composed Cannibal the Musical, and in interviews he's talked about his love for music a lot, so it's definitely no surprise the songs turned out as great as they did. The main plot of this movie is pretty much just a reworked version of a season 1 episode plot. Essentially, it's about the boys watching a movie with swear words in and taking inspiration from the movie, and they start repeating the words. Their parents then respond to this by creating a nationwide protest to destroy Canada, as they blame the entire country for the source of these problems. This plot's brilliant. Matt and Trey managed to predict the audience reaction to this movie and called them out before they even released it. The main arc and lesson at the end is brilliantly demonstrated, with Carl telling his mum that instead of blaming everything else, she should sit down and blame him, and that while she was trying to protect him, what she was actually doing was hurting him in the process. I want to talk real quick about the beginning of this movie. It does a perfect bait and switch, with the opening being a happy, innocent song sung by Stan and the other people of South Park, one of the only 2 songs in the entire movie without any swear words, and the other being a song sung by the literal devil. This gives the audience, especially the parents who arrived at the cinema with their children, the false impression that this is going to be a nice, family-friendly movie, and all the parents breathe a sigh of relief. Barely 2 minutes after that song ends, however, the movie launches into the most vile, potty humour, immature, filled with swears number of the entire movie, appropriately named Uncle Fucker. To make it even funnier, around the point where all the adults probably would have started walking out the cinema, the adults in the movie would start doing the exact same, mocking the audience the exact same time they're doing it. I mean, you've got to hand it to Matt and Trey. Now let me just get this straight. I don't think this plot is the best story ever told in the history of film. Far from it. But it suits the movie perfectly and was honestly the best choice they could have gone with, making the movie an ironic take on what people think of South Park rather than just some stereotypical South Park adventure. The musical aspect heightens this even further, as I've just proven, and makes this movie stand out even more. In conclusion, South Park Bigger, Longer and Uncut is a perfect movie adaptation, a parody, a musical, but most importantly, a masterpiece. Its unforgettable songs, brilliant irony and fantastic arcs make it one of my personal favourite movies of all time. It was the perfect way to turn the South Park series into a feature film, and most importantly, it stands out as a fantastic musical. The fact this came out before season 3 was even finished and was this incredible is a miracle. Matt and Trey really didn't need to, but they put fucking effort into this, and I respect that. Thanks so much for watching this video, and an even bigger thanks for the support of my last video. My next video is going to be a very big one. It's going to take me a while to make and a very, very long time to edit. So I'm estimating it being out in just under a month, although don't take that as a promise. It might be over. I'm sorry. I wanted to clear that up in case anyone wonders why I'm not posting for a while, but I promise it will be worth it. Anyway, that's been it from me. Goodbye.